It sounds like Trey's getting to play. How does that change the things you want the team to be better at after the first two games?
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, he played in both exhibition games and played a lot. Um, with the core of our team, he is a big part of the core of our team. So, uh, yeah, I don't think it's that big of a change for him. Like, it's just trying to get, healthy for him more than anything. And, get out there and get some reps in and uh, feel good about it. And then obviously anybody, not just him, it's just, I think everybody wants to get on where they travel. They want to get on that floor and shoot in those rims and things of that nature. So I think that getting more familiar there still doesn't change how you're going to guard them. They're a very good team. Obviously, they just had a great win at St. John's and very talented, very athletic, well coached. Obviously, we played them a couple of years. So uh, in both games, even though I thought our defense in the second half against them last year was the best half defensively, it was still two games where you probably look at it as we outscored them. You know, uh, we didn't stop them in Toronto. We just played a little bit better offensively in the second half than they did. And, fortunate enough to get that win, fortunate enough to get the win here. And it's going to be a tough game. So we're looking forward to it.
Kind of going off of that, the simple answer is probably making more shots, but how do you avoid this from being a track meet that it's been the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is take care of the basketball and take good shots. Don't put yourself in vulnerable positions. A lot. It's going to happen. Things are going to happen. You're going to have, some turnovers. You just can't have 20 of them. If you keep turning the ball over against really athletic, fast teams, they're just going to get fouled, get a lot of layups. So take care of the basketball, take good shots, keep setting your defense, and do your best to keep them in front of you.
How did Jakari and CJ and everybody else guard on the perimeter? Kind of strike that balance between being really aggressive, getting more screens, disrupting handoffs, things like that, disrupting ball handler, and
Right.
keeping it in front of them.
Well, it's a lot comes in there. It's that person have a head of steam. Is he in the open court? Is he in the half court? Is it ball screen defense where there's other people involved? Do they set a ball screen? Do they slip out of a ball screen? Do they ghost? Like they're manipulating everything offensively. He's one of the best offensive coaches in America. And so like you can't just answer that question in theory with one answer when there's so many things that go into it. You have to square the basketball. And if you're constantly changing your feet and you're constantly giving them angles, they're good anyways. So if you're helping them by changing your feet, and not being there and help, and then not making sure you keep the ball out of the paint, now you're going to play from behind. And if they get angles and you're playing from behind, you're going to be in trouble. Just too good of shooters, too much athleticism, too much quickness. So I think that's for us, not just CJ and Jakari, but for everybody, is just keep the basketball in front of you. But how we guard all the different things I just mentioned, we got to be on the same page. And I think that's an important. Anytime you face high octane offenses, like you have to be on the same page in what you're doing in the actions that present themselves.
You mentioned that Jakari really had his heart set on starting this year, but being able to digest the game for 4 or 5 minutes on the bench and then coming to a game fresh, what is the benefit of that? That he can kind of give you something as a fresh body on the
Right.
defender.
Yeah, I think anybody who comes off the bench, I think it's a tough transition because most people are used to starting, of just understanding about like how they have to play when they go in there and that energy that you want to bring. You want to bring that energy whether you're starting or not. But you were hoping with those guys to come off the bench, taking in some of the things that we had talked about in practice and that we really drilled on, and then being able to see it before you actually have to guard it or go against how they're guarding us. I think that can help you. I think most people would tell you that they'd rather start the game and get the feel from the actual action. But you're hoping that the guys that come off the bench can understand that and give you that spark.
How much did the Kentucky game help guys like Benner, Mayer, and Clough who've never played in that environment before? And then going into tomorrow.
Well, we had a lot of players that have played in big time games before that didn't look like they had. So it just wasn't them, right? Like we have guys that have played a lot that didn't play well. at Kentucky, and you hope you have that out of your system. Is why you play that game. You hope you get. Everybody thinks that first road game is an easy game. It's not. I don't care how many you played it. You still have to have that adjustment, and that mentality. So, you're hoping the young guys that have never been in it before. Omer's been in some pretty, dicey environments internationally. So any of those high level international guys across the country, like they've been in some cage matches over there. So like that isn't something that I think is going to bother guys with those kinds of experiences. But it's so good for the ones that have it. It's good, period. But it just gives them a taste of what's getting ready to happen here in Alabama, because they're going to have a great environment. It's going to be loud. So hopefully just kind of going through there and learning that lesson without it counting as a game, can help us be more successful at Alabama. That's the reason we do it.
All the paperwork all set for your first two signees here.
Yeah, for 3 of them, yes.
Can you tell us about Jacob Weber first?
Yeah. Well, Jacob Weber gives us great positional size as a guard. Probably the best move and shoot guy in the country. Great size. Has a uncanny ability to be able to sprint in and get his feet organized and be able to twist all in one motion and shoot, 25, 28 feet and do it consistently. He's just an absolute weapon on the court. You got to give him a lot of attention, and you got to stick with him. And with that, if you want to take him out of the game, you've just created a lot of space for everybody else to play. So, we're excited. And, obviously he went to Lalamere this year to get that experience against that competition and get himself ready for college basketball. We're excited to get him. We think he's the most prolific shooter in the country, and he's definitely going to help us in terms of our spacing and how we run things.
Incredible.
Tough. I don't know if I've ever seen like a high school guy that we've taken like with more intestinal fortitude. Just a determined player, tough, hard-nosed, gets after it, picks you up full court, bird dogs the basketball. He's really improved his arsenal in terms of shooting the basketball, not just catch and shoot, but getting to his pull-up, getting to bodies, bouncing off bodies, being able to make floaters and runners. He's put a lot of time into his game, as has, Jacob. But that's really what you want, and what we're going towards is, those guys that are skilled because they put in a lot of time, and having a locker room of guys that are workers that are skilled, and it really helps us from an offensive standpoint. But now we're excited to get Luke.
Rivers Knight.
Rivers Knight, very fortunate to get Rivers Knight. He didn't play this past summer, and good size, quick release, prolific shooter also. Guy that can, really stretch the defense, and I think that's a very important thing, at that 4 position. If we're able to continue to get good size and keep developing size, whether they're low post guys or lob threats or what have you, I think having a guy like Rivers, who's got range to 25 feet, that can consistently knock down shots, so he's going to help you. I think he's got more to him as a player, and I think that's all coming. He's really done a good job of getting in shape and getting his body right after his injury last winter. So very excited about him. It was a short recruiting thing for us, and I think it was just kind of the right place at the right time, and PJ had stayed on it, and just liked what we had saw in terms of his athleticism, his size. But what really separated was his skill level. I think to keep putting guys out there that can make shots, especially at that position, really helped us. So we're excited about Rivers.
Can you just talk about him as a whole then?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities there, especially everybody's ability to shoot. When you talk about our class with these 3 guys. So I think that's the one thing that jumps out is just that ability to shoot the basketball. And for us, that's what we need. Like we need that space. We need, everybody to be worried about on the floor. I think that gives you really good balance, really good spacing. Then you can do a lot of things, with that. But Obviously Luke, you know, as a combo point guard, however you want to put him, and then you know Jacob as just a big guard as a 2-3, and then Rivers. I look at it as a 4. Maybe he could be a small ball 5. Maybe he can swing over as a 3. Like I don't know. Just you know, time will tell. But I know he's going to be really good, you know, at the 4 and what they're doing. But I would say the one similarity is the skill level, you know, in this class.
Are you anticipating adding to this class?
Yes.
And then kind of the recruiting mindset now in the world of the portal one. I know it's hurt you less than a lot of places, but you have to identify needs maybe a little bit differently than you used to 2,
Right.
3 years ago.
Right. Yeah, you just have to look at like who you think can be impactful, you know, the next year and be ready. And I think that's hard sometimes because you like guys, but sometimes the guys you think are going to be more impactful aren't, and vice versa. That's why getting there in the summer and getting a lot of work in June, July, August, you know, just going into practice. Because you want guys to be on earning ground. Like right now, it's a little bit tougher because we're deeper and we have an established team. And next year we lose those guys. So how that looks going forward, you know, there's more opportunity there. You know, because you know you lose a 4-5, you lose a 2-3, and you lose a point with the guys that have been here for a long time. But then you throw in a, you know, a 5-man like Oscar and a 3-4 like Liam. You know, it's a little bit of everything. And so like this is what, you know, hopefully this class kind of looks like, you know, where you have a little bit of everything and replacing those guys.
Anything else?
You saw the Baron fighting last year.
Yeah.
You saw what he did to St. John's, and just what kind of challenges he and what he had to do to disrupt him.
Yeah, just a really good young player. You know, I know he's young for his grade. Last year, I think he was like 7. He just turned 18 when we played last year. I don't know if I got that right, or maybe he was still 17. But I thought he was really dynamic in our game. Going back and watching it, just explosive, can drive the basketball, can make some intermediate shots. You can tell from watching him this year that he's really worked on, you know, his perimeter shooting. I think that's the one area statistically when you look at his stats from last year that I think will improve this year. And you can just tell him, you know, his confidence level, and he's, you know, he's got the ball more. And anytime you have more opportunities, I think you're going to feel more comfortable, and just a year's experience of being in a high level program in a high level league. But he's good, man. He's talented. He's can change directions, change speeds. But when he puts his head down and he barrels downhill, man, he's tough to deal with. He's one of the best in the country.
Anybody else?